Jesus, you are more precious than anything. Jesus, you are more precious than anything. Oh, yes, you are more precious than anything. Oh, I give you glory. Yeah, I give you praise. Jesus, you are more precious than anything. Oh, I'll give you glory and I'll give you praise. Oh, I'll give you glory and I'll give you praise. We are in Deuteronomy 23. Yes, we are. So get your pen, your paper, and your notebook, and whatever you have to write with, your pencil, your tablets, whatever, and get it ready so you could take notes. Get your everything ready. Take your Bible out so you could do that too. If you follow along with me, if you can. If you cannot follow along with me, with your Bible, it's okay, because I'm going to read the whole chapter to you like we do every night. And then we're going to give you the Bible references for the verses that we're going over. So hopefully you got your paper and pen ready. When I say the verses, you could see where else in the Bible that particular verse come from. It's not only from there. Obviously, if it's in the Bible a few times, so obviously God wants you to pay attention to the word, okay? So pay attention to the word, especially to the reference where it was said a few times before. Okay? That's for you to take heed to the word. Pay close attention to it. Because God wants to make sure that you don't make the same mistake and you know exactly what says the word. Okay, I want you to share the video. I want you to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever we are at the moment. And when you're looking at us, share it. And also donate to our ministry as the Lord has blessed your heart to donate to our ministry. Amen? So let's continue on. No one whose testicles are crushed or whose penis is cut off shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Those born of an illicit union shall not be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation, none of their descendants shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. 3. No Ammonites or Moabites shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation, none of their descendants shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. 4. Because they did not meet you with food and water on your journey out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam, son of Beor, from Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse you. 5. Yet the Lord your God refused to heed Balaam. The Lord your God turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loved you. 6. You shall never promote their welfare or their prosperity as long as you live. 7. You shall not abhor any of the Edomite, for they are your kin. You shall not abhor any of the Egyptian, because you were an alien residing in their land. The children of the 3rd generation that are born to them may be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. 9. When you are encamped against your enemies, you shall guard against any impropriety. 10. If one of you become unclean because of a because of a nocturnal emission, then he shall go outside the camp. He must not come within the camp. 11. When evening comes, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun has set, he may come back into the camp. 12. You shall have a designated area outside the camp to which you shall go. 13. With your utensils you shall have a trouble. When you relieve yourself outside, you shall dig a hole with it and then cover up your excrement. 14. Because the Lord your God travel along with your camp to save you and to hand over your enemies to you. Therefore your camp must be holy, so that he may not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. 15. Slaves who are slave who have escaped to you from their owner shall not be given back to them. They shall reside with you in your midst, in any place they choose, in any one of your towns, whenever they please. You shall not oppress them. 17. None of the daughters of Israel shall be temple prostitute. None of the sons of Israel shall be temple prostitute. 18. You shall not bring the fee of a prostitute or the wage of a male prostitute into the house of the Lord your God in payment for any vow, for, for both of these are abhorrent to the Lord your God. 19. You shall not charge interest on loans to another Israelite, interest on money, interest on provision, interest on anything that is lent. 20. No loans to a foreigner. You may, on loans to a foreigner, you may charge interest, but on loans to another Israelite, you may not charge interest, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertakings in the land that you are about to enter and possess. 21. If you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not postpone fulfilling it, for the Lord your God will surely require it of you, and you shall incur guilt. 22. But if you refrain from vowing, you will not incur guilt. 23. Whatever your lips utter, you must diligently perform, just as you have freely vowed to the Lord your God with your own mouth. 24. If you go into the neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grape, as many as you wish, but you shall not put any in a container. 25. If you go into your neighbor's standing grain, you may pluck the ears with your hands, but you shall not put a sickle to your neighbor's thinning grain. Okay. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. So let's get ready with that. Okay? Let's get ready with that. It's good. It's very good. 23 is very good. Okay? 23 talk about laws regarding community purity. That's what I talk about. Laws regarding community purity. Okay? Now, verse 1 through 6. As a sacred gathering, the assembly of the Lord must exclude anyone who would be ritually impure on a permanent basis. Right? Who is pure, who is ritually impure. Any lack of bodily wholeness or being the offspring of an illicit union which is on verse 2, okay, would cause this, would cause this, okay? So if your testicles don't work, broken, crushed, not working properly, if you was born out of wedlock, you cannot be a member of the union, okay? Now, and it's also said that these rules understands the Lord assembly to be a cohort of adult male Israelites, right? The covenant community functioning as a restricted religious, military, and political association. Yes, that's in Deuteronomy 16, verse 16. That's your reference, people. Write it down. Deuteronomy 16, verse 16. Deuteronomy 20, verse 1 to 9. Deuteronomy 35. Deuteronomy 33, verse 5. And also Deuteronomy 5, verse 22. Deuteronomy 31, verse 30. Isaiah 56, verse 3 to 8. Also look at Judges 20, verse 2. 1 King 12, verse 3. And also 1 King 20. Wow. So if the Lord give you all those references, you repeat it so many times in the Bible in different form or shape, obviously it's very important for you to take heed to the word. Okay? Take heed to the word. That's a breakdown of 1 through 8. Okay? Now, in verse 1, you talk about exclusion for a reason of genital impairment, right? We saw that before when we was doing Leviticus, okay? If you look on Leviticus 21, verse 17 to verse 23, okay? It talk about that, right? Okay? He said, no one whose testicles are crushed or whose penis is cut off shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Exclusion for reason of genital impairment. That's Leviticus 21, 17 to 23. Now, verse 2. Those born of an illicit union shall not be admitted to the assembly of the Lord, even to the 10th generation. None of their descendants shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Right? Illicit union was traditionally understood to mean incest. Incest, right? Illicit union, incest, and also born out of wedlock. Illicit union. Okay? That's in Genesis 19, verse 30 to 38. Genesis 19, 30 to 38. Leviticus 18, verse 6 to 18. Leviticus 18, verse 6 to 18. Okay? If you have is Mishnah Yebamat in chapter 4, verse 13. If you have that on your own Bible. Now, also let's continue on verse 3 to 6. Verse 3 to 6. Verse 2 to 6 talk about ethnic disqualification. That's what I talk about, ethnic disqualification. Right? Ammonites and Moabites had a history of intractable hostility to Israel. They had a history of intractable hostility to Israel. And verse 3 to 4. Okay? Verse 3 to 4. He said, no Ammonite or Moabite shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord, even to the 10th generation. None of their descendants shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord, because they did not meet you with food and water on your journey to Israel. They did not help you get out of slavery, out of Israel. So therefore, no. Okay? And because they hired against you Balaam, son of Beor, from Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse you. Remember, we talked about Balaam before, right? Okay? We talked about Balaam before. So therefore, it's very important for you to take heed. Okay? We're going to go back to Balaam in a minute. Okay? Now, and moreover, Israel viewed both nations as deriving from incestuous relationship, right? They viewed both nations as coming from incestuous relationship. So you could see that on Genesis 19, verse 30 to 38. Genesis 19, verse 30 to 38. Okay? But verse 3 to 6, verse say, is talking about ethnic disqualification. You could see that on Ezra 10, verse 10 to 44. Ezra 10, verse 10 to 34. Nehemiah 13, verse 1 to 3. Nehemiah 13, verse 1 to 3. And also verse 23 to verse 27. Okay? We talk about Balaam, right? We talk about Balaam and how the Lord used Balaam to bless the Israelites instead of curse the Israelites, right? That's from Numbers 22 to also 22, 23, and 24. 22 to 24. If you want to know more about Balaam, please go back to the video that we did in Numbers 22, 23, and 24. We talk about Balaam during that time. Please go back and review it. Now, in verse 6, it talks about welfare, right? Welfare, peace, and prosperity may connote political alliance or treaty, right? Verse 6. You shall never promote their welfare or their prosperity as long as you live, right? Welfare. We should not promote their peace, right? And prosperity may denote political alliance or treaty. That's from Ezra. That's another time the Lord talk about that again. It's on Ezra 9, verse 12. Ezra 9, verse 12. And Jeremiah 29, verse 7. Jeremiah 29, verse 7. Also Jeremiah 38. Jeremiah 38, verse 4. Okay? It's also this injunction with with Deuteronomy 2 verse 9 and also verse 19, Isaiah 16 verse 4. Now, verse 7 to 8, abhor. 7 to 8 talk about abhor. You shall not abhor any of the Edomites, for they are your kin. You shall not abhor any of the Egyptian, because you are an alien residing in their land. 8. The children of the third generation that are born to them may be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. Abhor. Right? You could see that on Deuteronomy 7, verse 26. Deuteronomy 7, verse 26. I'm talking about the Edomites. Right? The Edomites were talked about on Deuteronomy 2, verse 4 to 8. Deuteronomy 2, verse 4 to 8. Also in Genesis 36. Right? Genesis 36. Amos 1, verse 11. Amos 1, verse 11. Okay? Now, but if you continue on, it's talk about benevolence. Benevolence toward Egyptian is remarkable in view of Deuteronomy 24, verse 22, 26, verse 5, Deuteronomy 26, verse 5, and also and also 6, and also verse 6, and also Deuteronomy 28. Okay? Deuteronomy 28. I'm going to give you the right verse in a minute. 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 60, and also verse 68. Also verse 68. Verse 60 and also verse 68. And also, if you go and see Genesis 12, verse 10 to 22. Okay? Okay? And it talks about children, apparently the descendant of intermarriage. Children, apparently the descendant of intermarriage. Right? Intermarriage. That's on specifically on verse 8. But you could see that again on Genesis 12, verse 10 to 22. Now, I hope you had all these Bible references for you to go back and read. Okay? Because if I start reading all those verses, this video going to take at least 3 hours. Now, let's do 9 to 12. 9 to 12. Now, when you are encamped against your enemies, you shall guard against any impropriety. 10. If one of you become unclean because of a nocturnal emission, then he shall go outside the camp. He must not come within the camp. 11. When evening comes, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun has set, he may come back into the camp. Okay. 12. You shall have a designated area outside the camp to which you shall go. 13. With your utensils you shall have a trowel. When you relieve yourself outside, you shall dig a hole with it and then cover up your excrement, because the Lord your God travel along with your camp to save you and to hand over your enemies to you. Therefore, your camp must be holy, so that he may not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. Okay. You talk about specific rules together with theological rationale for maintenance of personal hygiene during holy war campaign, right? Holy war campaign. The Lord, as divine warrior, is present in the war campaign, right? Is on verse 14, right? Right? Okay. So ritual impurity must be prevented. Ritual impurity must be prevented. Now, let me break it down for you. If you go to Deuteronomy 20, verse 1 to 20, okay? Deuteronomy 20, verse 1 to 20. 2 Samuel 11, verse 11, he talks about what I just said. Now, in verse 10 to 11, right? Verse 10 and 11, if you become unclean, right? It's on Leviticus 15, 16, and 17. Leviticus 15, 16, and 17. Okay? If you become unclean, when evening come, you shall wash yourself to impure, to clean yourself. Keep yourself clean. Keep yourself pure. Because the Lord do not want no impurity in his midst. Because he travel along with you. Right? So what the Lord is, he do not want any mess there. If you have the Dead Sea Scroll Temple, okay? If you have a copy of that, it's on 45 verse 7 to 12 and also 46 verse 18. 45 verse 7 to 12, 46 verse 18. Now, verse 12 talk about a designated area, privy hands, right? You shall have a designated area, right? A designated area where you could go handle your business. Okay? You could see that again on Deuteronomy 1 verse 30, Deuteronomy 20 verse 4, Deuteronomy 31 verse 6, and also verse 8. 2 Samuel 7 verse 6 to 7, right? Indecent, repugnant, or objectionable, right? Indecent, right? Because the Lord wants you to be decent. Don't want you to be unclean, right? So look at Deuteronomy 24 verse 1. Deuteronomy 24 verse 1 is all part of ritual purity, right? If you could just get one verse, remember just one verse, I'll be happy. You know? Remember one verse. At least you may not remember every verse, but if you get the story down and you understand the background in it, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay? I'll be happy just for that. And if you understand, if you could know every verse that I'm giving to you, you write it down, you take notes, that'd be perfect. But I know not everybody gonna do that. Hopefully everybody would. But if you cannot go through every verse, I understand. Just keep on watching the video again and again and again, and you will get it over time. Now, let's do verse 15, 16. 15, 15. We talk about laws about harmony and relationship. Harmony and relationship, right? Right. Asylum is granted to slaves who have fled from a foreign master. That's what 15 and 16 is about. Asylum is granted to slaves who have fled from a foreign master. Don't you? It's like doing slavery time. They used to go from escape from the south to go to the north, and when you get there, you are free. Or move from the south, go to Canada, travel to north, and try to get to Canada as best as they can, so they don't go back. Once you get to a safe location, you're free. You are not allowed to. There's no point of them giving you back. Okay, the master come and say, I'm come to get my slave. No, you cannot get your slave. So it's in a free territory. You gotta stay there. Okay? So make you think that's where they got that idea from the Bible, right? Okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. That's what I'm trying to prove. Nothing new under the sun. Now, extradition of slaves who seek asylum in Israel is prohibited. Is prohibited. You could see that not only in that verse in Deuteronomy, you could see that again in 1 King 2, verse 39 to 40. 1 King 2, 39 to 40. Or the code of Hammurabi 15 to 20. Okay? 15 to 20. Now, verse 17, 18. 17, 18. The words translate temple prostitute. Temple prostitute refers to prohibited female and male religious personnel of some kind, but not necessarily to any involvement with sex. Not necessarily any involvement with sex. Okay? Okay. Now, also, temple obligation must not be paid with money derived from ordinary prostitution or the earning of a dog, right? Usually assumed to be a homosexual male prostitute. A earning of a dog, usually assumed to be a homosexual male prostitute. Okay. Now, let me go a bit more in detail of 17:18, so I could give you some Bible verse to go with it. There's no point of just saying it and don't have no Bible extra, just one. We don't roll like that in here. We gotta give you some more verses. Now, none of the daughters of Israel shall be temple prostitute. None of the sons of Israel shall be temple prostitute. You shall not bring the fee of prostitute or the wage of a male prostitute into the house of the Lord your God in payment of any vow, for both of these are abhorrent to the Lord your God. Yes. So prescription in defense of Israel, sacral integrity, temple prostitutes. The terms refer to no consecrated person associated in biblical usage with Canaanite or otherwise pagan rites, right? Canaanites or otherwise pagan rites. You could see in Genesis 38, verse 21 to 22. Genesis 38, 21 to 22. 1 King 14, verse 24. 1 King 14, verse 24. 1 King 15, verse 12. 1 King 15, verse 12, 1 King 22, 46, 1 King 22, 46. And also look at 2 King 23, verse 7, 2 King 23, verse 7, Hosea 4, verse 14, Hosea 4, verse 14. Okay? That's what talk about Canaanites or otherwise pagan rites, right? You know the Lord don't want no Canaanites because they used to prostitute themselves in front of other gods. Right? And God don't like that. Right? On a harlot wage. On a harlot wage. Right? Or fees. You shall not bring the fees of prostitution, right? A harlot wage or fees. You could see more of that, not only in Deuteronomy 18, right? You could see more of that on Isaiah 23, verse 17 to 18. Isaiah 23, verse 17 to 18. Ezekiel 16, verse 31. Ezekiel 16, 31. Ezekiel 16, 34. Ezekiel 16, 41. 34, 41, 31. Ezekiel 16. Also, Hosea 9, verse 1. And also, Micah 1, verse 7. Okay, Micah 1, verse 7, right? And also, when we talk about abhorrent to the Lord, it's on Deuteronomy 7, verse 25 and 26. Deuteronomy 7, 25 and 26. Mm-hmm. When you talk about 20, I'm going to go in detail on 25 and 26 for a minute. Just a minute. It said, the image of their gods you shall burn with fire. Do not cover the silver or the gold that is on them, and take it for yourself, because you could be ensnared by it, for it is abhorrent to the Lord your God. Do not bring an abhorrent thing into your house, or you will be set apart for destruction like it. You must utterly detest it and abhor it, for it is set apart for destruction. Right? So images you shall burn. Okay? So if you look in Deuteronomy 9:21, it talk about that. Okay? 1 King 15, verse 13, it talk about that. 1 King 15, verse 13. 2 King 10, 26 to 27. 2 King 23, verse 4. 2 King 23, verse 15. Also verse 11, verse 11, also verse 15. Also, do not covet, right? Do not covet. This and the following provision foreshadows, right? It's on Joshua 6, verse 18 and 19. And the aftermath, in Joshua 7. Okay, with the whole 7. Now, in Judges 8, verse 24 to 27. Judges 8, 24, 27. In Judges 17, verse 2 to 4. Abhorrent to the Lord is the label used to prescribe things, practices, and person deemed fraudulent, idolatrous, and otherwise morally repugnant. Okay? You could see that on Deuteronomy 12, verse 31. Deuteronomy 17, verse 1. Deuteronomy 18, verse 12. Deuteronomy 22, verse 5. Deuteronomy 23, verse 18. Deuteronomy 24, verse 4. Deuteronomy 25, verse 16. Proverbs 3, verse 32, Proverbs 6, verse 16, Proverbs 15, verse 8 and 9, and also Proverbs and also 26. Proverbs 15, 8 and 9 and 20 and verse 26. And also Genesis 43, verse 32, and Exodus 8, verse 26. Obviously, if the Lord is taking his time to make sure he repeated and repeated and repeated throughout the Bible, guess what? Take heed to it. Take heed to it, okay? Because he do not want any of this impurity next to him. He don't want none of this mess next to him, right? He made it clear. He constantly repeating it to the people so they could learn, right? So I think by now we should know. We should know not to have it. You should know how to respect the word and follow through on what the Lord say, right? I hope so. I really hope so. I really hope so. Okay. Okay. Now, in 23. Let's do 19 and 20. 19 and 20. This law restated, right? And in Exodus 22, verse 5, right? It's restated again in Exodus 22, verse 25. Okay? 19 to 20. You shall not charge interest on loan to another Israelite, interest on money, and interest on provision, interest on anything that is lent. On loans to a foreigner, you may charge interest, but on loans to another Israelite, you may not charge interest, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertaking in the land that you are about to enter and possess. Okay. Now, this is very simple. Okay. Let me give you a little example. Family example. You could apply it in today's time. Just say you're buying a property, you're buying a house, okay? True story. You're buying a house, and you lend the money to your father. You lend your father about $2,000 to put toward the money that he needs to buy a property. Now, you cannot come back later on and said you want $4,500 as interest or $4,000 as interest for the 2,000 that you already you lent, right? It's just like you lending it to an Israelite, to your own kin, to your own people. It was not a foreigner. It was not a neighbor who come to you asking for money, who was not your family, who was not your blood. The Israelites to Israelites are blood relatives, right? So if you lending money to your own kin, you cannot charge interest on it. That's what the Bible's saying. Plain simple. But it seems like people don't seem to understand that. People don't seem to understand that. So they need to go back and start reading the Bible. Lending to your brothers, your sisters, you cannot charge interest. Lending to your parents, you cannot charge interest. It's not done. It's in the Bible. Right? You cannot charge interest. Right? But you can charge interest to a friend because it's not your family. You know? A friend is not your family. It's not blood. You could charge interest to a stranger because it's not your family. It's not blood. They're not your kin. The Israelite to Israelite, you cannot. To another Israelite, that's kin, that's family. They went through struggles together. They get out of Egypt together. They got out of slavery together. They got out renting properties together to owning a property. That's family. You don't charge interest. You don't expect to get interest on stuff like that. No. You could wash that off. Biblically speaking, no, it doesn't work. Okay? So in everything that you do, apply what the Bible say on it, and everything will be just fine. People need to follow long on that. I hope everybody got me clear. So if you want, if you want interest, don't lend to family. If you want interest, if you don't want interest, you could lend to family. Good. And the Lord will bless you by not charging no interest. It will bless you. But if you charge interest, you're not going to get no interest because you're not going to get the blessing that God was going to give you because you already got the interest already. So it's all depending on what you want, the blessing of God or the interest. I rather have the blessing of God and follow through on what the Bible say to do. Okay? Now, let's talk about it again on Exodus 22, verse 35. Okay? And it talks about that in, not only that, in Deuteronomy 24, verse 10 to 13. Since we're going to be that, let me read that to you. When you make your neighbor a loan of any kind, you shall not go into the house to take the pledge. You shall wait outside while the person to whom you are making the loan bring the pledge out to you. If the loan bring, if the person is poor, you shall not sleep in the garment giving you as the pledge. You shall give the pledge back by sunset, so that your neighbor may sleep on the cloth and bless you, and it will be to your credit before the Lord your God. Right? So if you borrow from the poor, don't try to cheat the poor. You know that the last day God tried to return it back to them so they could use it. Okay? Especially if they give it to you as collateral. You know that's the last one. It's best to turn it back. Okay, so it's not the first time. So your reference for verse 19 and 20 is Deuteronomy 24, verse 10 to 13, Exodus 22, verse 35, Leviticus 25, verse 35 to 38. Okay? And profit making commercial loans. Profit making commercial loans to foreigners, right? It's on Deuteronomy 15, verse 6. Deuteronomy 15, verse 6. Deuteronomy 28, verse 12. Okay? When we talk about interest, right? Interest increment, right? By it's usually taken by the creditor when making the loan, right? When making the loan. You could see that on Ezekiel 18, verse 8. Ezekiel 18, verse 8, verse 13, verse 17. Ezekiel 18, verse 8, 13, and 17. Also, Ezekiel 22, verse 12. Ezekiel 22, verse 12. Now, let's do 21 and 23. A vow was a sacrifice promise and an expectation of divine assistance. Right? A sacred promise and expectation of divine assistance. Okay? Don't you sometimes you make a vow to God. Say, God, I want you to bless me. I want to do this and I want to do that. Please bless me. Just say, okay, let me get an example. God, I want you to bless me. Bless me with some money. When I receive the money, I'm going to do this for the house of God. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to bless you and I'm going to bless me. Okay? And please bless me. Please bless me, Lord. God's going to give you the money to see if you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And you better keep your word because you want that blessing to continue flow through. But if you don't keep your word, trust me, you're going to regret you ever made that vow. So it's best not to make a vow. Not to make a vow is the best thing to do. Because if you make a vow and don't keep it, the curse is no joke. Okay? The curse is not good. Okay? Now, the closely comparable admonitions. The closely comparable admonition in Ecclesiastes 5, verse 4 to 6, and derivative, a vow, a form of promissory oath, sworn in anticipation of divine favor, right? A oath sworn in hope of divine favor, in lieu of divine favor, because you are waiting for a favor from God, right? It's an oath. It's a promissory oath, right? Like you promise you're going to do this. You promise you're going to do that, right? It's like when you do a student loan. A student loan, you go to the FAFSA website, pretty much that's when you get ahead of your bachelor's or your master's or whatever, bachelor's, master's, whatever, and doctors, and you go on the website and you try to ask for a loan. Mostly, or all of the time, they will make you sign a promissory note, a promissory oath, stating that no matter what, you finish your school or not, whatever degree you started, that's your business if you didn't finish, but you will pay back that money. You will pay back that money that you borrowed. You said no. Okay, they make you sign it. It's just like the Lord. When you ask God for something, you make an oath unto God. You say, God, I'm going to do this. Please bless me with this. I said that already. Bless me with that. Bless me with this. Bless me with that. You promise you're going to do this. You're going to do that. I'm going to worship more. I'm going to praise more. I'm going to do all these things. You're going to do all these things for the house of God. Right? Just make sure you keep it. Because if you do not keep it, oh my Lord, it's not good. It's better for you never to pledge an oath with your mouth. If you utter it with your mouth, if you know nobody was here to listen, remember God is everywhere. God have bionic ears. He hears everything. Right? So it's better for you not to speak it with your mouth at all. Then you're not guilty of making an oath that you didn't keep. Okay? Now, that's if you look in Genesis 28, verse 20 to 22. Okay, give you examples. Genesis 28, 20 to 22. Numbers 21, verse 3 to 4. Numbers 21, verse 2 to 4. 1 Samuel 1, verse 11. 1 Samuel 1, verse 11. And Psalm 132, verse 1 to 5. Psalm 132, verse 1 to 5. Okay. Now, let's talk about 23. 23 says, whatever your lips utters, whatever your mouth say, I just said that a few minutes ago, do that. Whatever your mouth say, must diligently perform, just as you have freely vowed to the Lord your God with your own mouth. Your lips will get you into trouble. So be careful what you say with it. Okay? Whatever, usually a sacrifice or equivalent monetary payment, right? Equivalent monetary payment. Okay? Equivalent of monetary payment. Alright? Uh-huh. Now, if you look at Leviticus 27, Leviticus 27, verse 2 to 29, Leviticus 27, verse 2 to 29, and talk about that. Numbers 30, verse 2 to 15. All these chapters I'm giving right now, I did videos on them already. I did videos on Leviticus 27. Numbers 30, I did a video on that already. So you could go back and listen to those videos I did already on them. Okay? And also Psalm 56, verse 12 to 13. Psalm 56, verse 12 to 13. And Psalm 66, verse 13 to 15. Psalm 66, verse 13 to 15. Now, whatever your mouth say, whatever come out of your lips, as you freely say it with your mouth, you must keep it. Verse 24, 25. Verse 24, 25. Now, if you go into your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat your fill of grapes, as many as you wish, but you shall not put any in a container. If you go into your neighbor's standing grain, you may pluck the ears with your hand, but you shall not put a sickle to your neighbor's standing grain. Okay? The landlord, right, who is the owner of the land, okay, the farmer, the landlord, is protected from unfair exploitation by the poor, who were permitted to gather food in this way. Right? That's in Deuteronomy 24, verse 19 to 22. Deuteronomy 24, verse 19 to 22. Yes, you could gather, you could go to the neighbor's farm. You hungry? That's okay. Have a backyard. Go there. But if you find something, go take it and eat. But don't take bags and say, okay, I'm us. It's like somebody going to somebody's barbecue party. They didn't bring a plate, but they leave with trays of food. Eat your plate. Get your plate. Sit down and eat. You came empty-handed, leave empty-handed. But your stomach will be full, but leave empty-handed. But you can't come to somebody's barbecue party or any kind of party with no food, nothing in your hand. You come there happy as good lucky because you know there's food, you're going to eat, and then you taking half the food home. I'm guilty of that. Oh my God. I do that all the time. I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun reading this thing. But you cannot go to somebody's yard, take the food. You come empty-handed and take extra. The Lord said, no, you cannot do that. Come on now, leave the man with his food. It's okay if you're hungry, you eat some of the food that's in the garden, but don't take a bag home. Don't take none. Eat what you can and leave the rest alone. Okay? Now, ooh, that was kind of funny. Now, this ruling could gently define the limit of traditional hospitality extended to hungry wayfarers. wayfarers as well as to the field hand. Okay? And hungry wayfarers as well as the field hands. You could see examples of that in Deuteronomy 25, verse 4, right? Deuteronomy 25, verse 4. Okay? I'm sorry. I think I had a little bit too much fun. Eat as you can. Remember when Boaz, right? If you know the story of Boaz, when Ruth was gleaming around the field, right? Whatever's left over on the farmers was gathering the food, but whatever is left over, they fell on the floor. Leave it for the poor. Leave it for the needy. Don't take everything out of the branches. Leave some food on the branches, because poor people are gonna come. They know there's a garden there. Let them come and eat. Don't don't take everything. Leave some for the poor. If you know the stories of Boaz, when we get to there, we get to there. Okay, so they left enough for her to glean on, to ravish through the farm, the size, you know. Anyway, that was that. I hope you learned something. I hope your your notebook that you had specifically for this thing help you out. If you need any more references from Genesis, if you're reading the chapters from Genesis down to where we are, wherever we are, whenever you get to us, if you need references, contact me, email me, call me. What my number and information is at the bottom. I'll give it to you. It's no problem. Just message me, give me a message, whatever. I'll message you back. You got my phone number. Message me back. Concerning Bible verses, not because you're looking for a woman or baby, you look good. I see. No, I don't want that. Please, I'm not interested. I'm really not. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Okay. So therefore, Bible verses, call me. If you're looking for a woman, call 911. They send you an ambulance driver to take you to the psych ward. We got a lot of women there. I'm not one. Okay? Now, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord protect you, watch over you. Amen. And keep you safe and your family safe and constantly provide for you. Amen. Because we want the Lord to provide for you. We want the Lord to watch you, keep you in his arms that he promised. Amen. Let's try our best to keep the commandments of the Lord and do as the Lord say to do, so we could remain under his divine protection. This is where we all wish to remain, under God's protection. Okay? Don't forget to share this video, like this video, follow us, and also donate to our ministry so we could do the work that is meant for us to do. My goal, since this COVID-19 is around, I'm trying to get us a food truck, because right now to drive the van, trying to get a food truck so we could park it out and serve all the needy that come to us, and make it easy for us to just park it at one location and just serve every single day. So we need a donation for that. That's our budget for the year. This is what we trying to reach. If somebody have a food truck that they're not using, hand it over to us. We would put it into great use. Okay? Put it into great use to do the work that we are trying to do every single day. But if you have the funds to also donate to us, it's great too. We will get a brand new one. Okay, or use one. No matter how it comes, as long as we are able to use it to do the work that we are doing, is perfect. Okay, I realize there's so much homeless, so much people in need, and we want to continue to do what we do best. Amen. What we do best. If you watched our videos that we did before, it's not the first time we've been feeding the homeless. We've been packing up our van and drive around and feed the homeless all the time. So that's part of the work that we do daily. So anyway, take the time, watch our videos, and you feel the Lord bless you into blessing our ministry where we feed the homeless, we drive around the neighborhood, we feed the poor. And right now, there's so many more homeless that we feed every single day. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So we make more plates now than we did before. Way more plates. But for us to continue, we need your support. We need your support. So donate. The link is in the bottom through PayPal. The link is in the bottom. Donate to our ministry and so we could do what we do. Amen. And bless those who are less fortunate. Okay. Thank you. Peace. Shalom.